Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of Matchup Monday. I'm sure you guys have seen the last two episodes, which were Rutherford Winter versus the Winter Soldier and Venom versus Wolverine, which I'm sure you guys probably enjoyed if you're into that kind of thing. But for today's episode, we're going to be getting into a more bloody, more fight based matchup with our two, I don't know if I'd call them swordsmen, but one of them is at least. They like big melee weapons that cut people. We're going to be doing Blood Hunter from Moon Knight 4 versus the Black Knight from Midnight Suns. Two of our most lethal and legendary fighters that we've seen. And I will be representing the Black Knight, and my lovely fiancée, Kendall, will be representing the Blood Hunter. And we have Jack Mack as our host for today, so everybody say hi.
Hello.
Yo. So y'all already know how this goes. I'm going to do a round. I will read my story, Ken will read hers, and then Jack Mack will judge. And then we'll do rebuttals, and then Jack Mack will judge again, and then we'll do final statements. Jack Mack will make his decision, and then we will leave it to you guys to decide. So, with that said, I will start the timer and get into round one of our battle. Who wants to start the timer? You want to time?
Yeah.
Because Jack Mack's got scoring down. I've got the stats and stuff, and you can do time.
I mean, I can also do the time. That's fine. It's no big deal.
He's already getting it.
Oh, okay.
Makes it convenient so we can all have our stuff.
So it's
open,
5
too.
minutes?
5 minutes, yeah. Everyone gets 5 minutes to discuss their points, which I think is good. All right. Here we go.
Wait. You ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. The battle begins in a dark forest. We see Dane Whitman walking around. He's got a sword on his hilt and is looking around for monsters to battle. As he walks, he suddenly hears the super fast footsteps of an approaching enemy. He turns heel and yells, "Avalon," as his chest armor completely comes onto his body directly before being stabbed by a powerful scythe. He slides back and looks forward to see the Vampiress, the Blood Hunter. She smirks at him. She gives some little witty banter, explaining how she'll kill him and drink his blood and make him nothing more than a husk of a man. Dane toughens his resolve and readies his epic sword, the Ebony Blade. The two begin to fight, and it's clear the Blood Hunter is the more aggressive fighter, utilizing her super speed and reflexes to try to overwhelm Black Knight. But his battle-hardened warrior spirit won't allow him to be defeated so easily. He kicks her in the chest, and as she goes to swing her scythe at him, he slams his sword against it, slashing her scythe completely in half. Bloodhunter looks on in disbelief as Black Knight smiles with a sense of pride. Bloodhunter then laughs as her own, and proceeds to pull out her strong, powerful battle axe, and pretends to fight up close. She uses her super speed to get close to him, and slams her axe into his leg, ribs, and shoulder. He falls down to the ground, tight grip around his sword as to not lose it. Bloodhunter grabs him by the collar and pulls him up, biting deeply into his neck, sucking out his blood. Dane resists the pain of it and stabs the ebony blade directly through her chin, almost piercing her brain. He rips the sword out and kicks her a few feet away. Bloodhunter is wounded, but is still amped due to having Dane's blood in her body now. But as Bloodhunter goes to pull off her finishing move, Dane's wounds regenerate due to the sword's magic. Bloodhunter, now frustrated, leaps forward to slam her axe into the Black Knight's chest. He rolls over and pulls himself up, kicking her in the kneecap. Her knee buckles, and she goes to swing her axe one more time, but before she does, the valiant Black Knight stabs his sword directly into her heart. She begins to vomit up blood, and as the Black Knight removes his sword, he says, "I will grant you a warrior's death," and hands her the blade. She holds it, preparing to end her own life. But as per usual, her rage and pride appear to take hold. She stands up and swings him with the blade, slashing him through the stomach. Dane reels back in pain, but he's able to grab the sword from her and overpower her, slashing her torso to ribbons and then slicing her head clean off of her shoulders. Her body slumps to the ground, and he walks away, a valiant winner. That's my part. You can reset your timer now, babe, and then we'll let you do the Blood Hunter portion of this battle. Let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
And go.
The battle begins in the large forest. Bloodhunter is stealthily skulking, oh my god, through the shadows of the tree line. She's moving around the environment until she realizes she's hungry. So she looks around until she sees a deer eating some grass off the ground. She uses her super speed to run up to it quietly, and she slashes its throat with her axe. As its body falls to the ground, she begins to drink its blood, which gives her some strength. Suddenly she hears footsteps. "Halt, foul beast. I saw you kill that innocent animal and partake in its blood. I shall not allow this." The Black Knight stands before her. She stands up, wiping the blood from her mouth. She smirks and says, "Fine. If you want to fight, let's fight." She readies her scythe, and the Black Knight unsheaths his sword. The two have an epic fight. with Bloodhunter dodging slashes from Dane's sword. Eventually, Dane cuts through Bloodhunter's leg, leaving a large gash in her thigh. She tries to fight through it, slashing Dane with her scythe a few times. Her speed and aggression is a lot against Dane, who is a slower fighter. She slams her scythe into his right shoulder, hindering some of his ability to fight with the sword. But once she realizes that Dane is regenerating, she has a different approach. Bloodhunter pulls out her battle axe and quickly dodges an underneath swing of the ebony blade, shoving the axe into Black Knight's stomach, kicking it so deep that it nearly comes out the other side. She then uses her scythe to rip the sword out of Dane's hands by severing them. Dane, now losing several fingers and his sword, with an axe buried deep in his stomach, is on the verge of death. He looks at her. "I will not be defeated by a foul creature like you." She looks at him and scoffs. The Black Knight rips the axe out of his stomach, and both of them are now without weapons. Dane puts up his fist to engage in a one-on-one fight, but it quickly becomes a massacre. Because Bloodhunter's superior martial artist training mixed with her super speed and reflexes are making this a one-sided endeavor. Bloodhunter punches the helmet off of Black Knight's head and kicks his kneecap out, sending him to the ground. He cannot move. His kneecap is busted and his guts are still bleeding profusely because of the axe wound. She leaps onto him, biting into his throat and sucking the blood from his neck. Dane mustered enough strength to kick her off a few feet away. A few feet away lies the ebony blade. She picks up the ebony blade, immediately taken aback by the power it appears to possess. She looks at him. Humans always think they're so special. She stabs the sword directly into Dane's neck, and blood begins to spew out all over Bloodhunter. She rubs it with her fingers and proceeds to lick it, gaining even more strength due to the blood now in her system. With one fell swoop, she raises the ebony blade in the air and slices down, slicing, oh my goodness, the Black Knight's skull right down the center. She laughs and walks away, leaving the corpse of a fallen hero on the ground.
All right, and that is it for our, I don't know, I'd call it like an essay portion. So with that, Jack Mac, I will now give you 5 minutes of your own to ask us questions and anything else that you would like. Starting now.
Okay, I'm trying to think. So, I took notes.
Best judge ever, by the way. This man was
Actually
keeping
taking
track.
notes.
I was trying to keep up. Yeah. So, I don't know if I wrote this wrong. Something about Black Knight can heal himself. Where did this come from?
When Black Knight has the sword in his hands,
It
it
heals him.
regenerates him.
Okay, that's what I thought it said. You said, so I was making sure.
Yeah.
So if he gets
Dane's-
knocked out, he doesn't have that, right? Like
Yes, if he does not have the sword, he loses his healing.
got it. Okay.
So just to cover this while I have the chance here,
Right.
I'm going to go over kind of the abilities that the ebony blade itself possesses. You can keep that going.
No, stop it.
So when this only applies to when it's in his hand.
Right.
It doesn't just feed off like his presence. It has to be in his hands.
Right.
When he has the sword in his hands, he physically cannot be killed.
Okay, gotcha.
Like it makes him immortal. He can't age with it in his hands. It makes him stronger, more durable. Gives him regeneration. He's also immune to magic, which doesn't matter here because Bloodhunter doesn't use magic.
Yeah, right.
But if it was in like a fight against, I don't know, say someone like Hellstorm, he'd be immune to the Hellfire magic because But the sword basically gives him a stat increase, a really good healing bonus, like healing like Wolverine type healing. It's very quick. And also amplifies his strength. And the sword itself can cut through anything, but you have to put pressure behind it. You can't just like drop it on a concrete slab and it just slashes through it. You actually have to give it some heft. But a sword regularly wouldn't cut through something like that. But with the ebony blade, it would, because the ebony blade can cut through people. It can cut through metal. It can cut through rock. It can cut through tree. It can cut through anything. You just have to put some heavy pressure on it. And I think that's pretty much it for what the ebony blade is going to be doing here.
Okay, cool. So
Your Jack Mac is full time.
that definitely, mean, that gives him an edge if he can heal. But I mean, at the same time, it seems like the fact that he's got more honor makes it a little unfortunate for him. So that's just because I'm not as familiar with Marvel vampires. What does vampirism typically do for, like, what does it do for her? What
So
does that do? I mean, I wrote down its
She
strength and
obviously
stamina,
has like
but
healing. Like
it's a healing
regener-
factor and stuff too.
yeah, vampires they have the typical things that vampires have. Like they gain extra strength. They're extremely fast. They get a really good stealth increase because, as you know, vampires don't make sounds when they walk.
Right, of course.
They have a really good healing factor. They're immune to a lot of conventional ways to kill them. And so, in the case of what we know as vampires, which is something like Blade, that are like half vampires, they're now immune to things like holy water and sunlight and things like that. Compare a Marvel vampire to something like a JoJo's vampire, like Dio. They kind of have some like stuff similar to him. To where, like they kind of don't have the same weaknesses, but they have a lot of extra strength.
Right. Okay.
Their healing is really good.
So there's not really as many downsides to it as like a stereotypical
Yeah.
Nosferatu. Yeah.
Truly, what gives her the edge over a lot of other vampires in Marvel is being a half human, half vampire. Because like someone like Dracula in Marvel is still immune, still able to be hurt by like sunlight and things like that.
Which since she's half, she doesn't.
She does not.
Right. Yeah. That's
Sorry,
Yeah,
my
definitely
my
helps.
chonky cat is underneath the table, bothering us all.
that's my son.
Little
So
king.
yeah, that definitely helps her.
If you're curious about stats here, I have those all written down as well, because I did some kind of scaling.
We'll talk about those in our next.
Yeah, we'll cover those in the next round of it.
Um.
And also, if you want to know about feats that like support these claims, I have those for both because I don't know if Kendall remembers off the top of her head for Blood Hunter, but
Right.
I remember them for both because obviously I wrote the whole thing.
Because what Alex asked me the other day, he said since the demons in Moon Knight 4 are more human, would that make them more weak? And I said probably not. The more human they are, the more they could act like human and become stronger.
Right.
So him fighting the sword demon and then her fighting a sword demon, I think she has a bigger feat there. Because if they're talking at this point, that means they're getting stronger.
Yeah, they have more IQ,
Back
more
then-
intelligence.
Back then, they didn't have that
Yeah,
when Black Knight fought them.
we saw in Midnight Suns the sword demon that he fought couldn't really speak and had lower intelligence, but like the ones in Moon Knight 4,
They literally said vampires.
it's canon that the longer they exist, the more intelligent they become. So I do think that lends some credence to that idea.
Right.
That her feat is better than his, at least when fighting a sword demon.
Like the only thing that I really, I mean, as of this moment, I mean, I'm already gonna kind of give away a little bit of how I'm feeling. It feels like she kind of has an edge for me personally. I think the only thing that he really has for me, he's used to fighting monsters, makes him kind of prepared to fight a vampire a little bit. He has the ebony blade. As long as that's in his hands, it'll heal him. However, she has, from what I gathered, he's an honorable fighter. She is not. She's the kind of person like and I think it was yours, Alex, where you wrote like he said kill yourself and gave her the sword, and then she was like,
yeah,
She went after
so
him.
like yeah, it's like
She would do that,
wouldn't die.
absolutely.
She would not die an honorable death. She would rather claw her way out. So like it kind of, I feel like at that moment it kind of turns it more into hers than his. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
All right, that's
Okay,
perfect.
That
for
was
the time.
perfect timing.
So I guess this leads to the rebuttal round. Which
So what is this round going to be? 3 minutes or 5 again? Okay.
basically what you're going to do, what I'm going to do, is you're now going to start giving your reasoning as to why you think Blood Hunter takes the win, and I'll give my reasoning as to why Black Knight takes the win. We won't talk over each other. It'll just be us talking until Jackman goes.
Okay.
All right, and go.
So, personally, why I think Blood Hunter wins is, first off, the thing with the demon.
That's a great feat.
That's a great feat because if it's smarter, if it's talking, it clearly said vampires. I don't know if you guys could hear it in the movie. It does say vampires. We all agree on Brady whenever he said, should they talk? We were like, yeah, if you think they should. But so that, and she fought Moon Knight 3 times. First time he was weakened, yes, because of Grand Maul and Nemean, but that's still a great feat because if Black Knight fought Moon Knight, I don't think Black Knight could hold up very well against
Yeah.
someone of his caliber.
I'll say this right now: a fight between Moon Knight and Black Knight would be very one-sided, because Moon Knight just has superior armor, superior physical ability. He's just overall.
He has a god on his side.
He has really good ability. He's just better, truly. But we won't talk about that.
And she fought him 3 times. He got his hits on her, but the second time he was holding back because he knew that it was Scarlet. But he still roughed her up some.
Yeah.
And then the third fight, obviously, she dominated because he didn't want to fight her.
Yeah, I think the problem with her fights against Moon Knight, and I think you'll agree with this actually,
He
is
didn't fight back.
they're very anecdotal.
Yeah.
They never actually squared off in a real fight. Because even in the first fight, like, he had just fought those other 2.
Yeah.
So, like, he was tired and was beaten up a little bit. So. But I'm not going to take that away from her, honestly, because those 2 are
The
strong.
second one, he wasn't necessarily holding back because it was obvious he was fighting back.
He just didn't want to kill her.
Yeah, he didn't want to kill her. He was roughing her up some.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
dude, yeah.
the last fight, he didn't fight.
He didn't even
back.
fight back at all. Not even a single shot. Not even a defense. Just let her hit him straight to the head.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that all you want to say?
I mean,
We'll talk about the powers or anything that she has over him.
I mean, she has super speed over him. So if anything, if she's getting beat up pretty bad, she could be like, peace, run away, and then at any moment just run around him, come back and hit him out of nowhere because, she's not an honorable fighter. She's gonna cheat.
Yeah, and we even see her use her agility very well because, like, she dodges Moon Knight's crescent darts,
Yeah.
which, like,
And she caught one too.
yeah, she caught one, which is impressive at a very close range at that. And we know, like, the only people that have ever been able to, like, physically stop them from moving have been, like, people with guns who can shoot them out of the air.
And Tudor.
Yeah.
Who was in Blood God form as well.
Say, we're pulling him out for another fight coming up later on that I think we should totally debate, you and I.
But that just shows her pure strength, because he caught it in Blood God form.
Yeah.
She caught it in just a regular old fight.
And the only other person to do it is from a movie that is no longer canon, so that's okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess are you done?
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to draw a little bit on her as well. We know that vampires, at least the human half vampires, can only be killed by very specific things. Like, human vampires can still be killed by a stake through the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would kill a normal person anyway. You wouldn't have to be a vampire to die from it.
And not a lot of people carry stakes.
And not all people carry stakes. This is true. That's one of the reasons why Moon Knight's gang was so good. It's because Moon Knight gave them all stakes to kill vampires.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Black Knight's sword would definitely be superior to a wooden stake.
Yes.
It is a magically imbued weapon that can cut through.
I feel like if
people.
it cuts matter, it can kill a vampire, because that's what a vampire is made of.
Also, the reason why I had him kill her the way I did was because I knew for a fact a lot of vampires aren't going to come back from decapitation.
Mm-mm.
It's
Only
not.
one who has ever been recorded was Dio.
Yeah, Dio was able to reattach his own head, but I don't see Bloodhunter doing that. Because for one, she's not that kind of vampire power level wise, and 2, I don't think she would have enough mental control to pull herself together anyway. Could she, like, if he cut off her arm, she could probably stick it back on and it would, like, resew itself, but not her head. But also, the Ebony Blade is truly what gets him the win. Because if he can hold on to that thing, which, I mean, it's bound to him, so it's going to keep itself on him for self-preservation purposes.
Unless, like in the story, his fingers get cut off and he can't hold it.
Yeah, granted, there is that. There is always a way around it. But if he can do it, like, if I could plug a controller into him and do everything right, he could definitely take her out. But it would be a lot harder than her doing it to him.
Yeah.
But it's always possible. All right. And with that, Jack, we're into the second questioning round, and I will let you start whenever you want. Just let me know.
Okay. I'm thinking on what because I tried to take a little bit more too. Yeah, because I mean, I don't really know if I have many questions. I mean, guys kind of sewed it in a way kind of together for me pretty well. I mean, you mentioned how Blood Hunter fights Moon Knight, no real issue. I mean, she was able to hold her own on that. I mean, I feel like that combined with what you said about Tudor, I don't know, it kind of, I feel like it kind of clinched it together. I feel like Black Knight's really only chance is what you said, decapitation. I feel like, and that's such a hard thing to do if she can't cut straight through her weapons anyway. Like if it's going to take a lot of force, I feel like it's really hard to get that kind of shot off. So I don't really know. No, I don't think I have any questions. I feel like honestly it's kind of wrapped itself up in the Christmas spirit, a perfect little bow. I feel like I already know my personal thoughts on it.
So I'll go ahead and lay these out just because I have all the stats written down. So strength, Bloodhunter has the strength feats over him. We know this because she's able to knock Moon Knight back into a wall. She's able to do a lot of damage to an extremely durable individual.
She's brought Moon Knight to his knee.
Yeah, she's literally knocked him down with her scythe in their second fight. And we know she's strong enough to catch the Crescent Dart, which can cut through people very, very easily.
Right.
And can only really be taken down by like a bullet or someone with a lot of strength. Speed also goes to Bloodhunter. She literally has super speed. Not like Quicksilver or Speed Demon, but like in short bursts, her speed is good. But that's still more than Black Knight, who is not going to move that quickly.
Amen.
Who is a human. Durability, I'm actually going to give this one to Black Knight because we didn't talk about this, but I should have. His armor is really tough. His armor can magically be taken on and off by him saying the word Avalon.
Right.
If he's that's why, like in my fight, like he was just walking around, but when he sensed her, he said Avalon, and the suit kind of merged onto his body. In his suit is traditional chainmail, but that is still pretty strong. And I mean, physically, he's tough.
I mean, it had to be back then.
He's tough because we see the sword demon in the fight actually stab through his stomach, and he gets back up and keeps fighting.
Yeah.
So he's a tough guy. I cannot lie. I mean, in the fight against Mephisto, he was going ham. Like he fought Mephisto with hands. That's how furious that man is. Stamina, I would say it's probably even. As long as he has the sword, the two are even. Because vampires don't lose stamina. No. They don't get tired. And if you have a magically imbued ability that gives you infinite stamina, you're not going to run out. So the stamina doesn't matter unless he doesn't have the sword, which we'll say for the intents of this fight, he's just going to have the sword more often than not because it's his weapon. Experience points, I'm going to give that to Black Knight. He's been around longer. He has a lineage worth of Black Knights before him. And he's been alive longer than Bloodhunter has. She's old, but he is medieval old.
Yeah.
IQ, like general intelligence, Bloodhunter is actually extremely smart. And that's unfortunately something that Dane does not possess. Dane is not a super smart guy. He's smart when it comes to magic and knowledge of medieval things, but generally he's not as intelligent or as clever.
To gauge how much older Black Knight is than Bloodhunter, me and Alex have both agreed Bloodhunter is only in like her 50s, 60s at most.
Yeah, and of course since she's a vampire, she looks good.
Yeah, so she's like 50s, 60s, he's medieval times, so that just...
Yeah. Fight IQ, I'm also going to give this to Bloodhunter, unfortunately. Black Knight has really good training, and of course he's in a medieval knight. That's pretty badass. However, she was one of the most prolific assassins ever, and that's why Tudor hired her, obviously. And she just... We know that Dane's like hand-to-hand skills are kind of shitty. Like, even Mephisto beat his ass hand-to-hand. Like, he really relies on that sword, unfortunately. Whereas Bloodhunter, she can fight with multiple different weapons. She can fight hand-to-hand. And of course, even her body has weapons. She has claws. She has teeth. And weapons, I'm going to say it's equal, because while his weapon is extremely strong, she just has a lot more than him. So I think it's kind of even. So I think that's it for our... Is that all you want to say for that? All right. So Jack Mike, I'll let you go from there, and we'll just finish up after this. We'll make this the ending, but we'll talk about what we
I'll
want to
just
say.
turn off the timer. I don't care.
Okay. So he'll make his
This
final
end part
appointments.
doesn't matter.
We'll make our
for the
final
timer.
statements, and then we'll cut it.
So, overall, I mean, I think it is pretty close. I think it's a very close kind of thing. I mean, as you said, they both have things that kind of even each other out a little bit. But I personally do give the edge a little bit to Bloodhunter. I know his armor's good. If he has the sword, he'll heal, but to be able to clinch off a decapitation when he can't even cut through her weapons super well, I don't think that's like a 1 in a million kind of shot. I think
Mhm.
it's like Luke Skywalker hitting the Death Star port. Like it was kind of the 1 in a million kind of shot. So I give it to Blood Hunter personally.
Yep.
Personal opinion.
I'll say this: if it was comic book Black Knight, she would be fucking dead.
Oh,
If it was
well,
comic
yeah.
book Blood Hunter and Black Knight, because if you guys don't know, Blood Hunter is kind of an OC, kind of a Marvel character.
She's based off of Stained Glass Scarlet, but we kind of gave her more stuff.
More interesting.
But
stuff.
even with that route, Stained Glass Scarlet gets killed by Black Knight.
Yeah.
Um,
I think she gets killed by Blood Hunter anyway.
and also, can I just say this? And even if we want to go by like feats that they said they've done, and not just feats that was shown, it's kind of hard to gauge because Black Knight was like, yeah, I've killed dragons, I've killed werewolves, I've killed vampires, and we know Blood Hunter has like fought like shit tons of crazy mercenaries, and like she's like a top assassin. But I'm gonna say this: fighting a dragon is probably not as hard as fighting a vampire, because one of them's an animal. Granted, it's a very large one, but I mean,
Not human
If you
intellect.
fight something with the intelligence or more intelligence than what you have,
vampires are extremely. A lot of people don't know this because unfortunately movies like Twilight have ruined the public perception of vampires. But in most media, vampires are pretty fucking overpowered. Like Castlevania, Hellsing, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Underworld. Vampires are strong. Like they have like city-breaking strength, super speed. They can heal from being ripped in half. It's a lot more than just I'm somewhat strong and somewhat fast and I don't die. Like they're tough, man. Vampires are tough. But I think that's all I got to say. I'm gonna unfortunately concede and give the victory to Blood Hunter. I actually knew I was kind of doing a losing battle, but I wanted to give my boy as much as I could to win.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The unfortunate thing is we will probably see more of Blood Hunter, and we will not be seeing more of Black Knight because
not a lot of swordsmen to fight.
we had one thing in mind, but that's not going to happen now. So you can forget about that. But we hope you enjoyed today's episode of Matchup Monday. It was very fun. I had a lot of fun with this one. Me, Kendall, and Jack Mike all. Our great trio. We should do this more.
I agree.
You're a great judge, and
Thank you.
You and I debated very well. So I'm gonna say that's it for today. I think we've all kind of come to an agreement. You guys in the comments can decide what you think. But with all the information provided, we'd probably like to say the Blood Hunter's taking the win.
Brady's not gonna be happy that Blood Hunter won.
So I actually talked to Brady about this, and he agrees.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Because
I thought he would have been like some bullshit excuse. Woman. I'm joking.
So one thing I want to bring up about the sword demon feat as well, the demon had actually put Black Knight on the ground.
It
Yeah.
gave Blood Hunter a small cut.
Blood Hunter murdered the sword demon she fought.
Yeah.
Literally sliced him up the middle with the axe. So if you want to just like go by scaling wise and just go by like what you see and like comparable stuff, a less powerful sword demon almost took out Black Knight.
Yeah.
Or a more powerful sword demon got easily dismantled by Blood Hunter. So yeah, but that's it for today, guys. So I hope you had fun, and we'll see you 2 Mondays from now on the next episode, whatever that may be. Bye-bye.
Bye.